Alright, let's take a look at the wear and tear effects unit. This is beta firmware, so some things are still being tweaked, but all the general functionality is here. I'm running my stereo bus through the output, so it's kind of an end of chain effect. Very first thing is there's a wet and dry. We're going to start to turn up saturation. And here, just start clipping a little bit. Crank it pretty far. We'll start adding some noise. So by itself, it's pretty pure white noise. If you increase the color, it starts to be more sporadic, changing frequency and volume, little dropouts. Again, go pretty extreme with that if we want. Noise goes right into the saturation, so really turn that into a noisy lo-fi recording if you want. Inside of noise with the shift function, there's an envelope. So clockwise, the envelope follower follows the incoming signal. It gets louder when the signal is louder. And then the other way is a ducker. So when there's no incoming audio, the noise is louder. So we'll leave it like that for now. Turning up the saturation, starts to get some harsher clipping. So the first thing we're going to do is try and tame that with age. So age is just a low pass filter, it's non-resonant. If I lower the noise color, you start to hear it doing that same sort of shifting of the frequency that the low pass filter. You can change how much it shifts with the age variance. There it's pretty extreme. And now it's more or less a low pass filter. You find a good little middle ground of taming some of those harsh high end from saturation. Another approach is to just use the actual low pass filter, which is resonant. We'll do some fun stuff with that. This is before saturation, so makes that clip. The resonance is an alternate function, so you can tune that in. And then on the other side we have a high pass filter. Kind of get some AM radio. Thin out that bottom end, and sometimes saturation adds. There's CV input for low pass and high pass. Tracks 1 volt for active, so you can do some fun stuff with that. Now let's get into the fun stuff. We have WoW and Flutter, which are both actual names of items that have from tape players. WoW is a pitch modulation that's between like 0.2 hertz and 4 to 5 hertz, and Flutter is between like 5 and 12 hertz. Frequency and depth, start to get that quintessential play motor slowing down, faster, or slower. Dial that back a little bit. Flutter is the faster one. Very vibrato. Turn the frequency up. Gets into like frequency modulation. There's also tap tempo. So you can get that to sync roughly. There's some things around this, so it's not just a steady sine wave LFO, it's a more complex wave shape than that. On top of all that, we've got Crinkle, which is dropouts. We have the frequency of the crinkles happening, they're pretty random, and then how far they drop out. Starts to sound more and more like real tape. Dial back, that's it. And then Dust, which is a macro control, and changes a lot of the settings under the hood for all of these. Also introduces these kind of tape snags, which sudden fluctuations in pitch. Again, we have a depth being the alternate section, and then frequency. So now it's going to turn more and more. And we're going to push that back down. So one of the fun things you can do with wet and dry is if you put it somewhere in the middle, you get this sort of chorusing effect with the wound flutter or even with the Dust. But you know, chorus is just vibrato plus dry signal, and so that's ultimately what you're getting there. But for now, I think all wet is the move. Up top we have tape stop. We have a trigger input for that, as well as clock, which I didn't mention. Let's try a different sound. Cool, here's some drums. So we're just using the previous settings. I'm going to move some things around. There's also a built-in compressor. Something more harsh like the drums might benefit from the envelope follower happening with the noise increase. And then these sound particularly good, in my opinion, when you really drive that low-pass filter resonance. Anyway, that's the features in a nutshell. Hope that's helpful.